That logo looks nice.
Yes, it does.
What's going on, everybody? The Six Ring Kane Show, National Signing Day, early signing day special here. Danny Gillette, Paul Austria, as we wait for all the other fashionably late people that tend to come on this show as usual. It's like everybody's on Cuban time on this damn show. It's unbelievable, man. The actual Cuban is actually on time. It's unbelievable. Anyways, what's going on, fellas? A lot to get through, especially the shenanigans that just happened about half an hour ago. With Jake Garcia finally committing, he is a Miami Hurricane, which we all kind of had an idea. We anticipated that he was going to commit to the Canes, but I think that his signing day, his I don't know what to even call it. His announcement was a complete flop on his behalf. With first with the with the coach kind of ruining his moment there for a second, and then him trying to troll everybody at the end. So it was kind of crazy. It took long. It was too crazy. Just say it. All right, you're a Kane, dude. We already know. It is what it is. But really nice signing class, right? Really nice class. 21 kids so far. Maybe another one a little bit later tonight. Actually, right now at about 8 p.m., Jaden McBurrows is going to sign his letter of intent. Is it going to be Michigan? Is it going to be Miami? Who's it going to be? A lot of people think he's going to flip, so that's going to be exciting to watch. But before we get there, let's get your take, guys. Paul, I want to start with you on the class itself. It seems like we're ranked 10th nationally now in overall standings of a recruiting class. So talk to me a little bit about this class and what you feel.
Well, first off, I know we just are fresh off the Jake Garcia announcement, but one guy that we should give some credit to, even though he's no longer a coach with Miami, is Dan Enos. Dan Enos kind of laid down the groundwork for Garcia's recruitment in 2018. I think what's the camp called again? That Paradise Camp.
Paradise Camp, yeah.
And I remember, I think 2018 was where Garcia made a lot of visits down here on his own dime. I think he made like 3 visits to Miami that year. So even back then the interest was real. But in terms of the whole recruiting class, it's a great class. It's a lot of talent, a lot of South Florida talent. There's like 3 out-of-state guys. No, yeah, 3 out-of-state guys. One of them he's actually from Miami. And Elijah Arroyo, the tight end out of Frisco, Texas, and then but I don't know. The 2021 class was so important for Miami just because it was so South Florida heavy that they needed to lock these guys down. There's
Right.
just they didn't. It worked out for them because they didn't need to go far for talent. They locked down the number 1 safety in the country in James Williams, who I know people thought that he was going to go to Georgia. He was a Georgia lock, but kind of, I wouldn't say the change of heart, but deep down, I know after he took that visit on his own dime to Athens, he knew, like, no, this isn't the place for me. And he ended up recommitting to Miami this summer. And okay, so my favorite commit, and probably the most important, is Leonard Taylor. Now,
yeah, it was a huge one. That's a big one.
Yeah, like just to put it, like I think he's 6'5" now, around 285, I want to say. But man, he forces so much pressure, and he's super quick off the line. Like you don't see that out of a lot of defensive tackles, especially from South Florida. And man, I still can't believe they landed him. I mean, it worked out for Miami because he did want to stay close to home, just so his family could watch his games. So, down in the end. And overall, it's a well-balanced class. I mean, you have 3 receivers coming in. Romello Brinton's going to be great for Miami. He's a big target at 6'2", and I feel like he's definitely the kind of receiver that Miami needs right now, just because, the 3 top guys right now, Mark Pope, Wiggins, and Harley. I know Harley's going to be gone, but they're all on the smaller side. They're quicker, but they're not like a big red zone threat. And top of that, Brashard Smith is a great, under the radar guy. I mean, he's been getting a lot of attention lately. He's going to be great.
I think he might be the biggest hit out of this wide receiver class, especially with Florida trying to make a late push apparently this morning to try to get him to flip, but he said no chance. Yeah, he actually didn't do it, by the way, Manny. Okay, he actually committed to Miami. So that was big. That was a huge one.
On top of that, I mean, they're adding 3 linebackers or I think Thomas Davis is going to play defensive end or something. I'm not even sure
Probably
about
gonna be
that.
like an edge guy, like
Um,
maybe an edge rusher.
Tyler Johnson, Jaquan Johnson's little brother, he's great. Deshaun Troutman, I cannot wait to see him play just because he shoots gaps like a cannon. He plays super physical for a linebacker, and he's been a great leader for Orlando Edgewater up there. Who else are we missing? Pat Franklin, the only running back commit. I mean, he's a big bruiser guy. I mean,
I think
he's
that's
had
all you
like
needed.
huge 300 yard gains for Chaminade.
Yeah.
So, I think aside from cornerback, which I mean, we're still waiting on Jaden McBurrows to make his decision. It's a great, well-rounded class. They added a lot of talent, and it's even though it's ranked 10th in the country, this might be Miami's best class in the past like 5 years, just because they
Yeah.
hit on a lot of guys and they found the right guys that want to go to Miami. They feel they
Right.
have that personal, they have that intrinsic motivation to stay home, put on for their city, as Nesta Silvera put it a few years ago, and they realize the importance of that. So I'm just excited for what this team will look like 2 or 3 years down the road when all these guys get better, especially Jay Garcia, man. Like it's a we were so worried about landing a quarterback this class. I mean, I think Miami had like 4 or 5 targets. They missed on all of them. At least we still had hope with Garcia, but luckily, with the dominoes falling, he fell right into our laps and it worked out.
Yeah, look, Danny, a lot of things, you know, didn't go in our favor, but a lot of things did. Obviously, the biggest one being Jake Garcia this afternoon, well, this evening, this early evening, committing to the Canes. But the big one that I want you to touch on, really, for me, Danny, you can talk to me a little bit about this, man. I really want to hear your take on the defensive side of the football, right? We're missing out on a lot of cornerbacks. Where does Miami go from here when it comes to quarterbacks? Do they still look into the transfer portal? And by the way, before we actually, we'll get to it after. Speaking of transfer portal, Danny, talk to me a little bit about the defensive side of the football. What you like, what you didn't like.
Well, I like the fact that obviously we talked about Leonard Taylor. That was kind of the big fish of this entire class, as well as James Williams. Those two guys, when you're looking at the defensive side of the football, are really going to anchor, the class. You also have playmakers like Thomas Davis, like Paul mentioned, and Deshaun Troutman. They did a really good job of getting not only defensive players but athletes. They did a good job of getting athletes for the defensive side of the ball because now it's no longer about just being a linebacker who can hit and a linebacker who can make the big stuff at the goal line. It's about linebackers that can keep up with slot receivers and running backs out of the backfield. As far as the corner situation goes, you know, we definitely do need another corner. And I think you're going to see, and this is true for all programs, um, taking players out of the transfer portal and seeing if they, belong with their respective programs. I think Miami could go after some corners in the transfer portal because there is a lot of talent there in what has been a crazy year in terms of, like we've talked about before on the show, not visiting campuses, doing, Zoom visits only. And it's really kind of created this interesting dynamic where, Miami is going to maybe get a chance to land a good corner, but ideally you would want to see them land one here on early signing day because honestly, in my estimation, the signing day, the regular signing day in February, that's more now, kind of, I don't want to say leftovers, but, all the big names have already signed by the time the regular signing day rolls around. So I think Miami will have some work to do at
Yeah.
the position, but overall, I think they did really well on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, another disappointment. Paul just tweeted out, and a lot of people just tweeted out. Jaden McBurrow is sticking with Michigan, so another whiff at the cornerback position there. Another huge. I have to say it. Another huge blow to the secondary, man. We're struggling there. Lack of depth I think it's going to be a major issue down the road if we don't fill some needs there at at cornerback through the transfer portal. A couple people, someone's mentioning, I guess, I don't know who it is. It's either Ethan or Manny, but Mike Rumpf. Mike Rumpf is in charge of that cornerback room, recruiting that cornerback room. He's got ties to a lot of people in the community, a lot of teams in the community. Coaching at American Heritage and whatnot. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't think he is an elite recruiter. And this is becoming an offensive game, and you need guys that can cover big time wide receivers, especially in the ACC, where you're going to get, you're going to have to face guys like from Clemson and Notre Dame, and we all saw North Carolina, even the little bit that Sam Howell did. Miami couldn't cover Diami Brown or what's the other kid's name now? I'm losing my train of thought with him, but another kid, the other kid that plays for North Carolina. So another big blow there for the Hurricanes when it comes to recruiting cornerbacks. So we'll see what's going to happen there, Danny. What I wanted to mention in the portal was another familiar name has entered the transfer portal, and that is little brother of Amon Richards, Mark Anthony Richards, has entered. He's a running back from Auburn who has entered the transfer portal. Listen, the running back room, as good as we thought it was, really turned out to be a bit of a disappointment, especially with our starter Cam Harris, who couldn't really get it just working the whole time, right? Had a few games here and there where he showed some bursts. He showed that he's he can be a really good running back, but for the most part, having a problem finding those extra yards. We saw a lot last year where he was breaking tackles, and he was able to get out in space and make some people miss or run through some people. Not the case this year. A little bit of a harder time doing that. We saw some glimpses of Donald Chaney Jr., who I think is our best running back right now. And then, of course, Jalen Knighton, who's out for I guess the last game, for the bowl game with a shoulder injury. But he's kind of that I don't want to say a third down back, but he's a guy that can go out, catch a ball out of the backfield real fast, can really make people miss. But we didn't see much of him either. So the offensive line may have something to do with that as well. They did struggle a little bit down, with their run blocking schemes and whatnot. I think Navon Donaldson coming back might be an upgrade. Maybe Jalen Rivers starts to get some playing time, but still, we still have yet to see if that offensive line is going to be any good. So I'm happy on the offensive line to see Mike McLaughlin commit, Lawrence Seymour fill out his letter of intent, and I think the biggest one is going to be Ryan Rodriguez, who's a future center for the University of Miami out of Columbus Senior High down here in Miami. Three big time offensive linemen in my opinion that could come in and push the guys that are there now. You get Jalen Rivers and Isaiah Walker, and you get Navon Donaldson back next year. So we've got a lot to work with. I think Garen Justice has a lot to work with now. He's building some depth at offensive line, but that starting five really has to get better. Someone that we didn't mention on the defensive side of the football that I think is a sleeper, doesn't get talked about enough, is a legacy Miami Hurricane, is Chase Smith. I think he is going to have a major impact starting next year at that striker position because I think Gil Frierson does come back, and so does Keontre Smith. But maybe you put him at an outside linebacker position. Maybe you put him at safety. You are going to lose Amari Carter, I believe, this year.
Targeting call.
Low key. I'm kind of hoping that whatever. Anyways, so but I think Chase Smith is a kid that can come in and make a difference right away. I think Leonard Taylor is going to come in and possibly start next year, if not. Be that third guy in the rotation behind Harrison Hunt and Nesta Silvera. So there's a lot that this 2021 class is bringing to the table. So I'm very excited about it, but I'm also concerned because they just missed on too many guys at the cornerback position, man. Too many guys. We're talking about 5-6 players that and some local kids that should have stayed home. And then maybe they let some kids go out of state to like Big Big Ten school. I don't know, man. I'm confused there,
Ole
Paul.
Miss.
Yeah. Look, Danny Gillette kind of talked about it a little bit, Paul. But what's going on at quarterback and with the recruiting? Is it Mike Rumpf? What is it? What's going on there?
Beats me. It's definitely alarming. I mean, what Miami missed on technically Miami missed on 3 targets today alone, which were Demarius McGee. I know they stopped recruiting him a little bit ago. He went to Ole Miss. There was no no
No,
no no.
he went to
Sorry,
LSU.
Markevius Brown went to Ole Miss.
Right.
Demarius McGee went to LSU. I thought they would have got McGee in the bag, and then McBurrows. Miami was definitely in the mix, but there was really no guarantee that he would flip. Although there were a lot of signs, but I don't know, man. It's really alarming, and especially it's. I know at least Blades will be back next year. Ivy should be back next year. You're bringing in Curtis. I mean, Curtis he's not bad at cornerback, but it's a lot of inexperience, and I don't know. They have to. They put themselves in a bind right now where going to next season they're only going to have 6 corners, 2 of them seniors, and just I think that both of the guys that, or at least I mean, Corey Catch is playing well. Don't get me wrong, he's great. But there's just I feel there's not enough competition in that cornerback room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would like. I think Diaz mentioned in the press conference today that they wanted to take I think at least 2 more corners before next season. So Miami has 3 spots left. So I'm guessing that they're going to bring in 2 corners to fit into this class. Probably going to be transfers. I mean, they kind of have no choice at this point. And then they'll save the last spot for, I'm guessing, probably like an Austin Barber, I'm assuming. And then maybe, I know they're after that USC linebacker who is strongly considering Miami. I'm not going to guarantee anything. I'm guessing they're going to count him forward. That's my guesstimate on this. So it's alarming, man. Like, I think, obviously if you want to point fingers, the guy that you look at, especially when you're recruiting a cornerback from the Broward area, like McBurrows is Mike Rumpf. I mean, he's brought in, I feel like the last 2 classes, aside from Corey Couch, they've been late kind of 4-star guys that he brings in on National Signing Day rather than the early signing period.
Right.
So they're kind of guys that have been, I guess you could say, dropped. I mean, also there's Clark too, but there hasn't been like a great, I guess, elite corner. I want to say. I mean, not to demean Corey Couch or anything, because he's been great, but I don't know. It's like there's 3 targets, man.
Here's my thing. What happened to Marcus Clark last game? I didn't see him on the field at all. Instead, it was Isaiah Dunton Moore. Did you guys see Marcus Clark after he got an interception, played well towards the end of that Duke game? What happened? Why didn't he play?
I don't know, man. They need to.
Doesn't that boggle your mind though when you see stuff like that? You're like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, you gotta. I think I think a lot of questions. I think because we think about the whole Christian Williams thing, where
Right.
especially when there's a big opportunity from the play and he decides to transfer, something must be going on, because you'd think that, especially with Clark, where he made the most out of 7 snaps, so you think he'd get rewarded, but that didn't happen. Honestly, I refuse to watch any clips of the North Carolina game just because it's going to stress me the hell out.
Right.
But yeah, it's and especially in recruiting, if you fall behind, with a position, like let's say Diaz brought up linebackers, where once they've had Quarterman, Pickney, and McLeod for 4 years essentially. And because they've had stability at that position, they've kind of been lax with recruiting. Probably the first 2 years they had them on campus. Now they got to play catch up, and that's the thing with corner now. And this is not even, this is like catch up times 10 with cornerbacks. I mean, I haven't looked too much into the cornerbacks of the 2022 class, but man, they gotta. And plus, now that they're taking they have to take in more cornerbacks next year, then that takes away from other spots, other positions that they may need. They've. Rumpf is definitely a guy that Diaz needs to assess, because this is a bad situation, especially when the corners, like Ivy and Blades, have been so shaky with their performances that they gotta push for more talent, more competition.
Yeah.
And you kind of talk about, establishing pipelines, for example. You don't establish a pipeline in one season. It takes time to build a pipeline and to get to know the players, get to know the area that you're recruiting for the potential pipeline and the coaches. And if you fall behind in recruiting a certain position in a certain area that you really want, then you can't establish that pipeline. And I think maybe that's where Miami lacked a little bit in recruiting at corner. And, now, like Paul said, they're trying to play catch up, but pipelines have been established and connections with other teams have been established. And, it's going to be kind of difficult for them to claw their way back out of this. And to kind of circle back to the transfer portal here, to me, the transfer portal is something where if you want to maybe add one guy because you need depth at a position or you need, maybe one starter, you go to the transfer portal. You shouldn't necessarily bank on filling an entire position with the transfer portal. And I think that's going to be concerning for Rumpf and the secondary if they have to do that, because in a crazy year like this with names flying everywhere, there are no guarantees and there are no, certainties that Miami will land a specific player or this player will go to Miami. It's all over the place this year, and all of these factors are going to make it very difficult for the cornerback position moving forward.
Yeah. Look, listen. At the end of the day, they've got to kind of reevaluate everything that is going on with the program from recruiting standpoint, especially on the defensive side. And bring Charlie Boyd in, man. Bring him on. Let's go. I'm talking to Manny and Manny, our producer, by the way. Manny, we love you, man. We love you. They're going to have to reevaluate some things that are going on from a recruiting standpoint. Okay, Mike Rumpf has to do a better job of finding the right guys. I don't care. Look, I really don't care if he's a 5-star or a 25-star or a 2-star. I don't care. Find the right guy that fits this scheme. Now, here's the thing, right? I don't know if you guys brought it up, but the defense is probably going to change, right? Do we agree that I think that Blake Baker might be gone after this recruiting period ends, or maybe even after the bowl game, whatever it is that Manny Diaz wants to do, because obviously, he's going to stick by his guy, at least for another game. I really think that he's got to go no matter what. I think there needs to be a change. It's no hard feelings towards Blake Baker, but the truth is that they're not responding to him. They're not responding to Manny Diaz either right now, because you can tell that they made no adjustments. They came out flat the whole entire game on defense. And they didn't respond. Them themselves have to make adjustments as well. So, you can't put it all on the coaching staff, because at the end of the day, the players have to perform. And it could be that the player, that Blake Baker or Manny Diaz is calling the right defense and they're not executing. That happens also. So it's on everybody. It's not only on Diaz or Baker. It's on it's on DJ Ivy getting smoked a couple times. It's on the linebackers understanding, because they probably saw film, okay? And in order to stop this running game for North Carolina, you have to come downhill with your linebackers. And they weren't. They were flat-footed, they were waiting, and they were reacting. It felt very Mark D'Onofrio-like. I hate to say it, but it is what it is, right? They stood there and they reacted to plays. And by that time, Michael Carter and Javonte Williams were running all over them. How many times did Amari Carter, who's Mr. Targeting, get run over on Saturday?
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's not because he's not tough and he can't tackle the guy, but he's playing flat-footed. He's waiting for the runner to come at him, and then he's trying to lay a hit on him. And like that, you're going to get run over by these big running backs. So, listen, man, at the end of the day, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Find some guys in the transfer portal. See what happens at linebacker. I think you need some big time players there too. So I like the Thomas Davis kid coming in. I like Tyler Johnson coming in. I like Chase Smith could still play a little linebacker also. So I like all those kids coming in and pushing Guys like, well, I guess Bradley Jennings is gone now. Wayman Steed, I think, is gone now also, unless they want to stay an extra year because I mean they really have no draft value, so they may end up staying. But it doesn't guarantee that they're going to start. What's up, Charlie? What's going on, my brother?
How are you guys? Thank you for
Good,
having
man.
me.
Yeah,
Good,
no
good.
problem,
Welcome,
man.
man.
No
Welcome.
problem. So we're talking a little bit about the linebacker position, the defensive side of the ball with the Canes, and at the end of the day, you're probably going to see because of the lack of depth, you're going to see James Williams down in the box a lot. Probably you're going to see Avante Williams play a lot more as well. I mean, we forget about that kid, who didn't play this year because of some sort of medical issue, but excited to see what's going to happen. I think we need that linebacker from USC. I think we need a kid like Ronald Delancey as well, Danny, who you've mentioned out of Nebraska, that's in the transfer portal, and some other guys. So we'll see what happens. Charlie, you got anything to say about this recruiting class?
Well, how much time do we have?
Yeah.
Just go off, man. You have
Yeah,
the floor.
just
You have the
go.
floor.
You're good.
Well, I have a question because
Sure.
I'm new at this.
Okay.
So one of the things is, can I swear? I'm guessing not. Seeing
Occasionally, yeah, you can.
Occasionally. You're
Yeah,
good.
that we're live on YouTube right now,
we are
Yes,
live on
sir.
YouTube.
I'm guessing not. But
We
Okay.
are.
Yeah.
uh, I'll censor myself the best I can. Holy, holy bleep, holy bleep. That's
You're
all I
good,
have to
man.
say.
You're good. You're good.
So yeah, that was just my opinion. And back to piggyback off of what Jazz said, if we can get as many USC targets as we can, I think that'll help Jake get comfortable with the offense whenever he takes over. And we have Baker, which he should be fired, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I
But
hear you, man.
as long as we put the right pieces in place, I think Jake will be comfortable. And we also have Ryan from Columbus, which is my alma mater. So shout out to the MC Pride. But yeah, I think for the most part, to sum it up, we got a good class. We can add a few more pieces. So Manny, I'm looking at you. But for the most part, I'm optimistic about the future, especially with Jake and Derek, who might come back. We have a we have a right outlook. We have a right outlook.
Yeah, man. Look, listen. We're all excited about the recruiting class. I think the only disappointment, like we said, was the cornerback position. So, it's going to be interesting to see now with all the COVID restrictions and everything that's going on now, how the next recruiting class comes in because, there. I would assume that they're going to start little by little, allowing. Some visits to a certain extent, maybe with some social distancing involved. I don't know if in-home visits are going to be possible, but I do know that they may have an opportunity where they bring some of the kids in, or maybe it's going to be vice versa, right? Maybe it is going to be in-home or the coaching staff going to these kids as opposed to the kids coming to the school.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting because here's what I think is going to happen. I'm probably leaning towards the coaching staff and the staff in general going out to see players, and they may just charter a private jet so that way there's no possibility of them
Yeah.
being with just the general public. It is what it is, but
Yeah.
Right.
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because I think Miami needs to make a statement in the bowl game
Yeah.
because this last game left a sore taste in everybody's mouth. And obviously we're all calling for Blake Baker's head. It is, and rightfully so, man. Everybody's passionate about it.
Even me. Even me.
Everybody, you can't give up 62 points and it be okay.
And
You just
800
can't.
yards. 800 yards is the big number here. Almost
Yeah, not
800
big
damn
for
yards.
What was it, 790 or 773?
780, but still.
I mean, that's
I I saw
ridiculous.
something crazy like 666 around there.
No, it's even more. It was even more than that. It was almost 800. So, look,
Damn.
let's see what happens in. We're on. Yeah, now we're on Jock Watch. We're gonna see if he commits because it's Jock, it's not a 7:30 show for crying out loud. It's at 8
You're not
o'clock.
Jake
show.
Garcia either.
I mean, Jesus
you know.
Christ Almighty.
But Jazz, you brought up a good point with the recruiting where Diaz actually brought up today where he said that, at least with this class, they've had contact with these guys. Like they've seen Garcia, they've seen Williams in person. They've talked in person, but they don't have. But the 2022 class and 2023 class doesn't have that luxury because I think the dead period is until like April or something, and who knows how COVID will unravel for the next few months.
Right.
There's still a bunch of unknowns. So it's insane that, the guys that they may bring in next year might not even get the chance to even just shake Mandy Diaz's hand. It's going to be off of just huddle film and YouTube film.
Right.
And you can't even get to know, your recruit personally. So it's a really weird situation. I do like the charter jet idea. I think that's been brought up
Right.
as well too. I think only thing is that not all schools can afford that. That's the only thing. Like you can't expect, UM could probably afford that, but you can't expect, I don't know, Miami of Ohio to do that all the time. So it's a weird situation, and it's going to be. I mean, luckily with this, like let's say the 2022 class is South Florida heavy, that would definitely help because for a lot of these guys, and especially, I mean, I'm not trying to the Nebraska guys that all transferred out. There's a certain level of comfortability knowing that if something if this happens, you are close to home. Your family isn't across the country or something. You don't have to have a layover just to get home. They're right there. Worst comes to worst, they're right there to your mom's there to cook you a nice dinner whenever you want. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting going forward for sure.
And I'd like to bring up something that Charlie kind of mentioned too, just going from Nkosi Perry and Jaron Williams to now talking about De'Aaron King and Jake Garcia. What a difference a year makes. I mean, truly, what a difference a year makes at that position.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on Jaron Williams. That's a whole other hour.
Hey, shout out to Jaron though.
And
for USF.
And so did Christian Williams.
shout out to Jaron.
He's a
He
good
had
guy.
some forgettable moments. Mostly all of them, but
For sure. Except the Louisville game. Louisville game he balled out.
That's true. If I can just give my final take here.
Yeah.
I would like
Go ahead, Charlie.
to just piggyback off of what Paul said, that the 2022-2023 class isn't gonna have that luxury. Like you said, and we all know as fans and now as contributors, which follow 3 yards per carry. I run the social media.
Nice.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, baby. Yeah.
Love it.
So, like Paul said, that was a key component. That's a key component of recruiting. Without that, you're missing your best asset. Because what do kids rely on nowadays other than social media, in person? Oh, bro, I went. They showed me around. They had a really nice facility. So I think, as Paul said, that is another reason why it's a big component. And without that component, you basically lost your resources. Because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you, Charlie, for coming on, man. That's a new contributor there, Charlie Boyd, over at 5 Reasons Network. You can catch him on the 3 yards per carry as well. So thank you so much, Charlie. Appreciate you coming on. Buddy.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Have a good night.
You got it, buddy.
Take care.
Take care.
Listen, let me see here. All right, as we wait for Jock to get on, let's talk a little bit about what's next for what's next for the Canes. What's next for recruiting,
Oof. Cornerback? Maybe?
Yep.
Few?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 at this point. They're playing catch up right now. And I think they already have 2 commits right now. One is, I think, one's from the Chaminade kid. I think it was Jamal Johnson, great defensive end. And they're also targeting. Well, okay, I'm not going to talk about the targets yet, but with and they also have Brandon Cleveland. I believe he's a lineman from up in Tampa, Carrollwood, I think. So they already have 2 commits in. It's I think it's a solid class, and they kind of, man, I hate circling back to cornerback. But okay, so here I'll come correct
What
this
else
time.
are we gonna do? We have to
Yeah,
circle back. That's like the weakest. It's almost pathetic the lack thereof depth that we have at that position. It
yeah,
really is.
it is.
I understand the rift. I guess there was a rift between Manny Diaz and Christian Williams, but how much are we missing that dude? That kid was talented.
Even at this
know?
point, I still what still irks me was dropping Tim Burns from the class.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I totally get, not feeling like he's a number 1 corner, but I still feel like, I've seen a few clips of him where he just plays like he has a chip on his shoulder.
He's
Like
got instincts, man.
yeah, he went to Northwestern. He's feisty, man. Like the guys have a lot of respect for him. I think he ended up signing with UAB.
UAB, yep.
Really good pickup. I think he was linked to FAU before, and that would have been a huge steal for FAU to get a guy like that. But at this point, it's it's just better to just have depth. I mean, I don't like, because I think even the past few years, with let's say Mark Richt, even Al Golden, where they've taken in so many project guys that, like, okay, they may not be ready to play right now, but they are ready to play, let's say, by their junior year. And luckily, right now in the class, there's none of the guys in this class that I could say, like, okay, I think they're ready. Most of them are ready to play, like, right now. They're ready to contribute right now, and they all bring something interesting to the table. So, but even if with Burns, even if you think he is, I mean, I think he's like, what, 5'10", 155 pounds, but Corey Couch was like even skinnier than that. He was like 5'8", 140 pounds, I think, going in, and he gained like 20 pounds with David Feely in the weight room. So I don't know. It's you. Luckily, I mean, safety, we're pretty set. On a brighter note, let's talk about the safeties.
Yeah, let's do positive. Let's do positive talk here.
I'm excited about James Williams, and I know a lot of you guys are iffy on him sticking to safety, eventually moving him to linebacker or even defensive end. I mean, I get it, but I still want to see what this guy's capable of at safety. I still feel like he can be a great safety for Miami. Like, you don't see a lot of 6'5", 230-pound safeties. And to me, if he can cover like a safety, if he can tackle in the box like a safety, I'm all for him keeping a safety. And think like maybe, I mean, we're still waiting on what Gervin Hall and Bubba Bolden want to do, but let's say 2-3 years down the road, you're gonna have James Williams and Avante Williams back there. My God.
And Cam Kitchens. Don't forget that kid.
Cam Kitchens, yeah. One of the most, I think, the
underrated.
most, yeah, very underrated. I think a lot of the guys I follow on Twitter feel like he's still being very disrespectful. I think he's like the 20th ranked safety on 24/7, but to me, he's probably like a top 5 safety. He plays against the best of the best every week. So, he's real. And, and we're also forgetting guys like Jalen Harrell, who's pretty good. Keyshawn Washington as well. I mean, though I wouldn't be surprised if they move Washington to striker. And then they also really like Brian Balaam. Balaam is sneaky good. I know they kind of threw him in the fire against Clemson, but I mean, it's Clemson. You're not going to expect them to show out, So, man, safety, they're definitely
loaded at safety. Loaded.
Coach Bonda has done a really great job recruiting safety, despite, people. I see a lot of Miami fans fixating on the guys that he's missed out on, but all the guys he's been able to bring in, it's a great, think he's gotten the top, I think, I'm not sure if Avante was ranked first or second last year, safety in the nation. I think it's second. Let's say second. And then he comes this year and gets the top safety. Like, yo.
Yeah.
Bonda, I feel like, has built great, genuine relationships, and he started And I think they even mentioned where he first started talking to Avante back like when he was an 8th grader. And even Diaz brought up the story of how they met James Williams, where they just seen clips of this kid. They decided to visit his school. I think he was at freshman year. He went to Pace, in like the Aventura area. So, and then without even his coach introducing James to them, anything like that, they just saw him. They're like, yeah, that's the kid. That's the kid that we want to be a part of Miami one day. And this is he said it was 2017.
Wow.
So Diaz talked about it too, where the recruiting's really changed, and where you got to start building these relationships very, very early. You got to be in their ears. You got to just get to know them. You got to build these foundations early.
But I think that can backfire so easily also, because you build these foundations with these kids early when they're freshmen, maybe even an 8th grader. And what if they don't develop into a really good football player? Maybe they're good at that point and they show potential, but you've built this relationship with these players, and all of a sudden, I just think it puts the recruiting in a bad position sometimes, where you have to do like what you did with Tim Burns, or what you do with some kids who may commit to you when they're sophomores, and then all of a sudden they're no good, right? It is.
Or they drop them or something.
And then they drop them, and then
Yeah.
The fans go crazy. Oh, why don't we drop the kid when we could have used them? Well, I mean, look, it's a perfect example. I think is the kid, like, I don't want to bash him, but Savion Collins, maybe not that good, right? But he was an early commit to the Canes, but he was also being left completely unblocked because you got Leonard Taylor right next to you who's getting triple teams. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to take those things and understand that recruiting, man, this recruiting game is crazy, man. It's tough.
It's a blessing and it's evil. But it's, in a way, coaches are going to have to make tough decisions. And you're right to a certain extent, where, it is a personal thing. Like it's like if I trust you, we've been friends for a long time, and you do something behind my back, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna hurt, but you kind of just got to move on, And like I think Miami's had to drop let's say Ja'Cory Hammett, don't forget him out of Northwestern, Burns,
Who side with West Virginia?
yeah, and then Savion Collins. So, and again, imagine these kids are hurting too. Like I think one of the other shows I brought up, it was a running back that was committed to Alabama for like 2 years. I think he was a 3-star running back out of Kentucky. He's committed for 2 years. Right before signing day, Alabama tells him, "Yeah, sorry, we don't have a space for you. If you want to come to Alabama, you have the gray shirt." He's been committed for 2 years. Like, how are you going to tell the guy, like, if he's one of the first 5 commits in the class, how are you going to tell him there's no space? That means that either lies have been told, but even in reality, I mean, Alabama's probably had to make tough decisions. They just prioritize guys higher. So you just got to hope that coaches do keep it real. And I feel like most of the time, UM's kept it real because, like, obviously Burns. I think a lot of people point out that Burns didn't thank Miami coaches in the little note he wrote because they should have been straight up from the jump, and they should have been like, oh, if they didn't feel like he was good enough to play for University of Miami, they shouldn't have recruited him. They shouldn't have tried to chase his commitment. And who knows? They probably could have. They wanted him just because they wanted the other Northwestern guys,
right?
So
it's a business, man.
Yeah, it's a business.
It's a business. And by the way, apparently Mark Amon Richards is tweeting that because Canes fans are already talking trash about, oh, we don't want Mark Anthony Richards, or the Canes won't even take him. Apparently Amon Richards is already spitting some fire back at him, saying that Miami has actually already reached out to them. So, which I wouldn't doubt. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, considering how poor our running backs played this past season, whether, like I was telling Danny, whether it's a product of the offensive line or it's a product of them themselves not progressing and getting better as the season went on. I don't think it's a bad thing to bring in another running back to this class. I know Thad Franklin is an absolute stud, which apparently he's last time I looked, he had 12 carries for 51 yards and scored a touchdown in the state championship game going on right now, which Larry Bluestein was going to join us, but he's actually at the stadium covering. So we'll get Larry on sometime next week because I think we want to talk to him about some of the players that we have committed. He's been able to see them live, probably every single one of them. Though there's nobody better in the business than Larry Bluestein when it comes to watching high school kids play. So yeah, Thad Franklin I think he's going to be a dog here at the University of Miami. You know, they say he's a thumper, but listen, I wouldn't underestimate his speed either because I think he's got the goods all around. He's definitely one of the top running backs in the country. Like you said, running for over 300 yards in multiple games. Very much like someone I'm not comparing him to him, but very much like Frank Gore. I saw Frank Gore. He was our rival when I was in high school. We're in the same class, we're the same age, so I got to see him a lot because they were our rivals over at Coral Gables High. Every single game, I swear to you, excuse me, guys. Every single game that he played, he ran for over 300 yards. It was unbelievable, unbelievable.
Legend.
Yeah. So, and Thad Franklin is kind of that type of mold, right? He's stocky kid, strong. He's got good vision. Runs hard. Is a thumper, but he's also got a little pep in his step. Also,
he's a great. I feel like red zone running back.
Yeah.
Because it's like. I don't want to compare it to the NFL, but NFL, they have running back by committee now. Right. So I think with the group of running backs they have now, it's kind of like a change of pace guy. Like you have your speedy Jalen Knighton who you could flex to the outside, get him in space. And Don Chaney, I feel, is a mix of both.
Yeah, he's an all-around guy for sure.
Yeah, he has great lower body strength. And he has very sneaky speed to him. He's very sneaky speed, and then that frankly just like the full-on bruiser. He's not like a super speedy guy, but he gets his yards.
Yeah, we'll get to that one now.
Oh, there's a name that. Oh man, I need to bring up there's a Auburn decommit. After Gus Malzahn got fired, there's a guy from Lehigh Acres.
You're gonna see a lot of kids decommit or going to the transfer portal now with the firing of Gus Malzahn. So yes. I think that's going to be big. Like obviously the Almon Richards' brother, Mark Anthony Richards, Patrick O'Brien now, another corner from Auburn who's in the transfer portal apparently. Anthony, good call on that one, man.
Tavares Dawson, Paul? Tavares
yes,
Dawson?
It's Tavares Dawson. Dawson is a really good cornerback. He's really, really good. Kind of has everything you'd want in a corner. Miami's in there, but I think a lot of schools have reached out already, including Clemson. So we'll see. And Clemson pretty much gets the first pick at anything, any player that they want.
Look, but yeah, at the same time, kids, and we talk about this with Jock all the time. Kids want to play right away. Kids want to play, man. And you've got an opportunity here at the University of Miami to play cornerback right away. I don't care what anybody says, because if I'm a defensive coordinator coming in here next year, ain't no way in hell that Al Blades and DJ Ivy's jobs are safe. There's no way in hell that they are. To Corey Couch, I think can solidify one side of the football field, but right now that nickel and that nickel and even the dime and the starting corner on the other side are not. I just don't see anybody who's locked it down and said this is mine. And like it's not about being your the best corner in the country. But you got to be serviceable and you can't be inconsistent, because we see flashes where DJ Ivy makes some awesome plays and you're like, holy crap, where the hell has that been? Right. And then you see Brian Blades. Wow. Al Blades. Al Blades covering the shit out of a lot of these really good wide receivers. And then all of a sudden he just has 2 or 3 games where,
he doesn't turn around.
And it's like, what the hell's going on? But then you constantly see Corey Couch make plays. I don't think there's one time that we've said that Corey Couch has really been, beat badly on a play.
He's going to fight. He's always going to fight in each battle he is. Even for a guy his size, he's going to.
He's the smallest one, right? He's the smallest kid.
5'8", 5'9"-ish, maybe. I think, no, even 5'10". I think, but no taller than that.
No, but he's 165 pounds, 170 pounds.
He's added a lot of good weight since he's gone on campus.
I like Marcus Clark. Look, Marcus Clark in practice, in spring football, whatever the hell you want to call it, summer, fall, yeah, whatever. In the COVID practice was balling, right? We heard a lot about Marcus Clark.
Yeah.
Then two weeks ago, plays, gets a pick, made it look so easy, right?
Yeah.
Made it look so easy, and then all of a sudden, non-existent against North Carolina. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not to take anything away from Isaiah Dunson because I don't think he really got exposed too much in this game. I just think it was just the running game was unbelievable. But and you kept seeing DJ Ivy getting smoked, believe it or not. But Marcus Clark was a kid that probably should have got more playing time, and I don't know, for one reason or another, I don't understand those things. Like, to me, I don't understand those things. If he makes a good play, keep him in there, man. Let him keep playing. Do you guys
Yeah.
consider Jake Garcia a pocket passer, or would you consider him a dual threat with the fact that he can extend plays in the pocket? Well, that right there, I mean, if he can extend plays in the pocket, that makes him more than just a pocket passer, man. Because if he can get out, he's got some wheels. I think he's sneaky.
He's a little bit, but I feel like he's still more of because he's listed as a pro stock quarterback. So I feel like he's one of those guys where he can run if he needs to, almost like Shane Bouchel
Shane
from
Bouchel.
SMU.
Right.
So he doesn't want. I think he doesn't. He's gonna think pass first. He's gonna think pass first. He's trying to find the guy. But
Right.
if he can't find the guy open, he's gonna try and take off. And he's good enough to do that. He's not gonna be like a Peyton Manning or something where he's a sitting duck.
Right. I mean, well, with the offense that we run with Rhett Leslie, he's going to have to run a couple times. He's going to have to. But the truth
O-line.
is, let's be honest with you, right? The truth is the O-line. If the O-line is better, De'Aaron King doesn't have to run as much as he has to now. If the O-line is better, neither will Tyler Van Dyke or Jake Garcia or whoever you want to put back there will have to run that much. I think they can rely more on the read option and throwing the ball down the field. And getting a few yards with your legs here and there. So it all depends on that offensive line. That's going to be huge because I think, which by the way, I have to throw this in there. Michael McLaughlin, or is it McLaughlin or McLaughlin?
McLaughlin, I
I always think of Sarah McLaughlin.
think. I think it's McLaughlin. I'm gonna guess.
Whatever.
It like McLaughlin.
Yeah, McLaughlin, but Mike McLaughlin. Let's say Mike McLaughlin, who's a great kid, was actually going to come on the show with us tonight, but he had some family over to celebrate with him his signing with the Canes. So I think we'll have Mike McLaughlin on the next show as well. So that'll be kind of nice to have a future Cane on the show. But listen, guys, we got to kind of wrap this up anyways. I got to go shopping for Christmas, dude. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I still got to
zero shopping.
I still got to get out there. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I think the next time we get together, folks, is maybe talk a little bit more about this recruiting class. I think we'll have a clearer picture as to what's going on with the transfer portal, with the cornerbacks, and I think by then we'll know if we're going to play in the Bolufe Auto Sales Car Bowl, or if we're going to play in the Cheez-It Bowl, or if we're going to play in the
I can't believe there's a Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah.
What the heck? They're just making up stuff now.
It used to be the it's the one in Orlando. What's it called? It used to be the
Camping World?
Yeah, Camping World. Yeah, it used to be that one.
Oh my god, we play there like every year now?
Yeah, well.
Oh my god.
It's who we are, my friend. It's who we are. We're gonna play in the used car sales bowl, or we're gonna play in the in the Coquito Bowl or the Arroz con Leche Bowl. Whatever you want to play in, man. But
Miami, as it could possibly be.
Well, no, we're probably gonna play the Gators anyways because they crapped the bet against LSU. So we'll probably play them in the Pastelito Bowl. So just get ready for that, Manny. All right, that should be fun. We should have a watch party for that one if they do play the Gators.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, that would be good.
Just us, just us, the Canes crew. We'll do it at my house, man. I'll invite all you suckers over.
Hey, question. Where's all your peoples, man? It's supposed to be a big day. What the hell's going on here, man?
We got a bunch of bandwagon fans, even in the network. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. But
listen, hey, you know what? Listen, kudos to you guys, man. Listen, as far as that loss you guys had on Saturday, the way that things looked, I guess, per se, right from a fan's perspective, looking outside, it didn't look too good. But hey, for you to be top 10 right now, right, Paul?
Yeah,
is it like top 10?
It's big.
So Florida and Miami are in the top 10, while FSU is in the 30s. That's awesome. Right now.
You don't even know who the quarterback's going to be 2 years from now. That's the sad part about FSU.
Yeah, no, I mean, they've been ever since Mr. Jimbo left, man. It's just been like hell of a waddle, right? So, but
Yeah.
hey, listen, but in your guys' eyes, right? Listen, Jay Garcia. Obviously, we don't know what the future can hold. But how excited are you that he's now in, and how long has it been since you've been this excited about a prospect at quarterback like that?
So
It's been
he's
some time, right? It's been some time, right?
He's the second highest rated quarterback to ever sign with Miami.
Who
First
was
is
number one? Kyle
Kyle
Wright.
Wright.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Ugh.
Nah, since Kaya maybe. Kaya was great too, but no, Garcia can definitely sling it, and and he's a West Coast kid too. Like the fact that they were able to go. I mean, he moved to Georgia for a bit, but still, it's just like they finally signed a guy that we can say like, damn, he's pretty effing good.
Yeah,
It's definitely a big sigh of relief.
but of course, like that one position that I know Jazz has been talking about ever since we started doing these shows, right? Since August, cornerback, cornerback,
Yeah.
cornerback, and geez, I mean. It's all good if you can throw touchdowns, but at some point you're gonna have to cover the other team, right?
It's gonna be just straight shootouts.
Which then now you now rely on Leonard Taylor and those type of guys in the front to try to create havoc as much as possible because in the back end, once if the ball can get past that,
If our
ouch.
safeties can play cornerback, then maybe I'll feel more comfortable. But I don't know about that, man. But no, it's Manny can recruit, which is a great too. But I think we're all just waiting for the actual product to manifest, and we want to see that success on the field because we're getting top 10 recruiting classes. Well, we need top 10 teams on the field, like the top 10 product. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think we have Smith, George, and Brenson because we're gonna need to put up some points.
yes,
Yeah.
we need receivers to catch the ball and actually want to grab the ball and not shy away from making plays.
Yes.
So thank you, God. Thank you.
By the way, guys, only Alabama would like flip guys from LSU and all these other programs on the day of National Signing Day, right? And then you have a coach like Deion Sanders at Jackson State flipping guys from Georgia.
Yeah,
like what the hell's going on here, bro?
I think FAMU had a huge. I think FAMU had a big 4-star kid that committed or was going to something. I mean, listen, good for them. They need more funding and they need more airtime to be able to get on the level with these Power 5 schools, which is great. But at the end of the day, something, it's just it's different to see. It's weird to see because you think that these kids in Georgia and Alabama are going to stick there, and but I mean, listen, more power to them. They want to raise up these HBCUs, and I'm all for it. I think that a lot of those schools have a lot of hidden talent as well that should probably be exposed a little more to give them an opportunity. So kudos to them. I want to thank you guys, Danny, Paul. By the way, guys, it's the Six Ring Cane Show now. You can follow us on Twitter. We are now Six Rings Cane.
We have a logo.
We have a beautiful logo. Tell us what you think about this badass logo. We'll have T-shirts. We'll have T-shirts for sale as well. So we'll give those, we'll talk to you a little bit about some merchandise. We'll have some merchandise going if you guys want them. Also, we'll post something on our Instagram as well, which is Six Rings Cane. You better stop, Manny, with that crap. Which is Six Rings Canes on Instagram as well. Check us out there. We'll continue to monitor everything that's going on with recruiting. Take a look at Paul. He's at Paul Austria. That guy, he spits some good stuff on there on Twitter as well. There it is. There it is. Jazz promised me a shirt. Yeah, you're gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna charge you $85.99 for the shirt. $85.99, and I'm gonna cut the sleeves off. All right, I'm gonna cut the sleeves off, so you gotta wear it. Oh man, we'll catch you guys soon. Six Rings Cane Show. All right, go Canes. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay.